Wozniak. Doug, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for inviting me, Ron.
To help educate, even though you are currently a trustee on the board of trustees here for Shelby Township, tell us a little bit about how long you've lived in Shelby.
A little over 20 years. I've lived in 2 different locations. I'm married to my wife, Pamela. We're going on 29 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My daughter is an Eisenhower graduate. She got out in '05 and graduated from U of M in '09. I'm a U of M graduate also, back in '69. My wife's a Sparty, unfortunately.
No big battles at home, I hope.
Oh, only on certain weekends during the fall. So, but I do have a degree from MSU too, so I've got a little blue, a little green in me. I try and calm the waters when we can.
Very good.
I run my own law practice here in Shelby, located up at 25 Mile in Van Dyke. I've been in practice in that location for a little over 5 years. Being an attorney is pretty rewarding for me. I know you're going to ask me what I do, so yeah, right.
Go ahead,
keep
brother.
rolling. Yeah, I do quite a bit of estate planning, wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, veterans planning. We look at people's retirement accounts to make sure that they can plan for a bump in the, what I call a bump in the road, if something happens to an individual in their family, which requires medical care. I also do quite a bit of real estate. I'm a real estate broker, and I'm also licensed as an insurance agent. So I try and coordinate all those things for my clients. We do a lot of business formations and some business litigation. And of course, with estate planning comes probate. We go into the probate court and we have to litigate sometimes there. So all in all, it's a kind of conglomeration of a lot of things that we do.
Quite good.
Yeah.
So you're serving your first term as
Right.
as trustee. You want to be reelected. Why? Why do you want to be reelected as trustee for Shelby Township?
I found it to be rewarding. It's a lot different, I think, than the people's impression. I find it rewarding to sit in and to be part of a process that helps our community grow. I think that making that growth is something that I could look back on, you know, when I retire or whenever that is, and say, hey, I helped do that.
That's great. So, what skills that you are continue to bring to the table as if you get reelected as trustee?
Well, as far as skills, I believe that I'm a negotiator. I can talk to people. I can talk to both sides on an issue. I coordinate, I think, very well with our police and fire departments. I coordinate very well with the other members of our board, and I'm able to speak to the public.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about Shelby Township and what's going on. But the biggest thing is, what do you think today and in the upcoming future is the biggest concerns facing the township and the residents of the township?
I'd say still it's got to be budgeting. You know, from '08 on, we've had budgeting problems in every type of government organization. Shelby was no different. If we had continued on with what our policies were from the previous boards, I think we would have been in a lot of problems. So my goal right now is to keep the programs that we've implemented in place so that we can go forward and still have balanced budgets, and we can give the residents of the township the services that they're expecting to have here.
So what is the, if you get reelected, what would you continue to do to handle these, or what would you do new to handle these concerns that you see that the budgeting concerns?
Well, one thing we have to look at is the retiree health care costs and the pension costs going forward. We've already addressed some of that in this previous term. I think we have to do that again. We also have to look at preserving what we have, our programs for seniors, our parks and rec. Those types of things need to be looked at, but we still have to fund them, and we have to find the money to fund them. I know currently our library, magnificent the way it runs. Dave Conklin is just doing a great job. But I think we should be able to find more funds for the library if we can. People expect different services here in the township. They expect the police department to be on time. They expect them to be courteous. They expect them to know the law. They expect them to enforce the law. And for our fire department, they expect them to be there when emergencies happen. I don't think we can cut those services at all. And I think it's important for the residents to realize that going forward, it's going to be tough to make budgeting decisions, but we are not going to cut services. It just won't happen.
What do you see as the greatest accomplishments that you and the board that you sit with right now have done over the last 4 years?
Oh, well, I knew you were going to ask me, so I made kind of a short list. One of the things I thought was important was the tax rolls, getting the tax rolls back. Now, that might not seem like important to a resident, but now we have control of our destiny. Our assessing department is able to handle any complaint or any questions that our residents have inside here without having to go to any place else. So it was very important to get those back. A couple other things. We built that police building that we just dedicated without bonds. We initiated free electronic recycling. We're continuing to work on sidewalks and improve all the sidewalks throughout the township. We ended work session votes, and outside of our township, people really wouldn't know that that was an issue. But we only vote on issues at our public meetings. We continued to work on the Macomb Orchard Trail, and that's almost completed, and we have more money coming in for that on grants. Speaking of grants, we got over $1 million worth of grants in the last 3 years. We didn't cut any services. We balanced the budgets. We reduced the employment costs, and we reduced retiree health care costs. So those are the things I jotted down.
Excellent. And you touched on a couple of the ongoing. Is there anything that would be a major issue that you haven't fulfilled, that you would basically, that would be on your priority list at the top to if you get reelected for the next 4 years?
Unfulfilled, no. Continuing, yes. I would say it's important that we look at our police and fire pensions, address them so that they're fair and that they're funded. I think that's still something we have to work on. And that could get out of control very quickly if it's not handled properly. Also, some of the development in the township are actual real estate that we've got left on how we're going to plan to develop the rest of that. I think that's ongoing to make sure that we've got a continuity in our plan. I think the people still expect to have services without having things cut. I think that they expect good roads, and they expect us to help them take care of them.
Excellent. What do you see as the greatest asset that Shelby Township has?
Wow. I would say we have got just a great reservoir of people here. When I look and try and, let's say I go online looking for something, I always look to Shelby Township first. And I always find somebody here that does a service or a job or something that I need. And when I talk to all the residents, it's amazing that their backgrounds and who knows who, and it's always refreshing to have, particularly our seniors that have a history here. They can say, oh yeah, he did this or he did this, and you can talk to this person to get this done. I find our people to be our greatest resource.
And here's the big question. Why should a voter who goes into that voting booth on August the 7th, why should they again select Doug Wozniak?
I personally believe I'm the best choice. I really do. I think I make decisions based on the issues and not on emotion. And I think if someone was looking at our township board meetings, they can see how emotions get in the way of deciding issues. Issues should be decided on the facts. Mm-hmm. I think I'm good at that. And I think I make fair, balanced decisions, and I'll do that going forward.
Excellent. Doug, the best on your re-election efforts for August the 7th, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks.